Hello learners, today we will deal with our experiment, that is the practical part, or that is to synthesize hexabromocyclohexane from benzene by photolytic halogenation. The mechanism followed here will be free radical mechanism and the reaction is addition reaction. For this reaction we have taken references or we have collected the data from various references which are here under. From these references you can see the theoretical part and the synthetic part of this chemical reaction, which we will be discussing now. So for the carrying out this chemical reaction, the requirements are chemicals like benzene, bromine, acetic acid, glasswares like conical flask, graduated pipette, measuring cylinder, and other things which will require will be plastic sheet and rubber bands. In the theory section, we will discuss the final molecule which will be synthesized after the outcome of this reaction. What is the utilization of that molecule? So the molecule which will be synthesizing or whose mechanism we will be learning through this experiment is lindane, that is hexachlorocyclohexane. So lindane is the gamma isomer of benzene hexachloride, a colorless to white colored synthetic crystalline solid with a slight musty odor that emits toxic fumes of hydrochloric acid and other chlorinated compounds when heated to decomposition. Lindane is used as an insecticide for hardwood logs, lumber and crops. Lindane also has topical pediculicide and scabicide activities, probably due to its neurotoxic effects. Inhalation exposure to this substance causes severe irritation of the nose and throat, causes anemia, and affects the liver, nervous, cardiovascular, and immune system. Lindane is reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. Hexachlorocyclohexane HCH is a manufactured chemical that exists in 8 chemical forms called isomers. So here further about the lindane, that one of these forms, that is gamma HCH, commonly known as lindane, is produced and used as an insecticide on fruit, vegetables and forest crops. It is a white solid that may evaporate into the air as a colorless vapor with a slightly musty odor. It is also available as a prescription in the form of lotion, cream or shampoo to treat head and body lice and scabies. Lindane has not been produced in United States since 1976 but is imported for insecticide use. Technical grade HCH was used as an insecticide in the United States and typically contained 10 to 15% gamma HCH as well as the alpha, beta, delta and epsilon form of HCH. Virtually all the insecticidal properties resides in gamma HCH. Technical grade HCH has not been produced or used in the United States in over 20 years. So for the principle behind this reaction we will discuss now. Here the chlorine molecule, by the effect of light, that is represented by H nu, results in formation of 2 chloride free radicals. These are the 2 chloride free radicals which has been formed, and H nu represents the light. Here a molecule of chlorine dissociates into 2 chloride free radicals in the presence of sunlight, or represented by H nu. So a molecule of benzene requires 6 chloride free radicals. To generate 6 chloride free radicals, we require 3 molecules of chlorine, 3 Cl2. These Cl2 molecules, chlorine molecules, they dissociate to give or to form chloride free radicals, and these chloride free radicals, they react with benzene to give you the required molecule, that is hexachlorocyclohexane. This sunlight is a good source of UV radiation, you can say, which can initiate the dissociation of chlorine molecule into chloride free radicals, which will result in formation of our hexachlorocyclohexane. So, a molecule of benzene reacts with 3 molecules of chlorine in presence of sunlight, resulting in formation of hexachlorocyclohexane, also known as benzene hexachloride. So, here we will discuss the mechanism of a reaction, how the reaction is taking place. For that purpose, we will understand all the steps involved to bring out the final change, that is to synthesize our final molecule. The 3 steps of the reaction are chain initiation, chain propagation, chain termination. In the chain initiation step, chlorine molecule by the action of sunlight dissociates into 2 chloride free radicals, and these 2 chloride free radicals generated in first step, they move to second step, that is chain propagation step, where a molecule of benzene is acted upon by a chloride free radical, resulting in formation of larger free radical, and this free radical is now acting over the second molecule of chlorine, and this chlorine molecule is now transformed to a chloride free radical and resulted in formation of a dichlorosubstituted molecule. Further, likewise, more steps takes place. The pi system, you can see the pi system here. This pi system is gone and the chloride molecule is added up, and this free radical extra electron is transferred to one of the carbon, and when the chlorine, this free radical acts over the chlorine molecule, it results in formation of chloride free radical and disubstituted chloride molecule, and again this pi system and this pi system, they will be acted upon by this chloride free radical and they will be removed, resulting in formation of our final compound, that is hexachlorocyclohexane. So, after getting our product, the reaction needs to be stopped. For that purpose, the chain termination step is required. In the chain termination step, we get the remaining, the unused chloride free radicals, they interact or they react with each other, resulting in formation of a chlorine molecule, and our desired product, that is hexachlorocyclohexane, is also formed. So, for the practical demonstration purpose, here we have taken bromine in the place of chlorine. So, wherever in the above reaction you have seen chlorine, replace it with bromine. So, the final product formed will be hexabromocyclohexane in place of hexachlorocyclohexane. So, you can see the structure, what change will be brought upon on the structure of the final molecule. Here the benzene hexachloride or hexachlorocyclohexane, since we are replacing chlorine with bromine, it will result in formation of benzene hexabromide or hexabromocyclohexane. So, this is our final product which we will be getting after the reaction, which we will see in our next step. So, here we will start with the practical demonstration of this whole theory which we have discussed. First, we will go through the glasswares. This is a graduated pipette of 5 ml and a rubber bulb, 2 conical flask and acetic acid, that is glacial acetic acid. Then you will need benzene, pure benzene, then bromine will be required. See this is bromine for synthesis. Then you will require rubber bands and plastic sheets to cover the mouth of your conical flask. So, while you are using bromine here, you need to take precaution, since bromine is quite reactive, and when it comes in contact with your skin, that is your hand or any other body part, don't wash it with water, since when bromine comes in contact with water, it results in formation of blisters. So avoid that type of practice. First, you wash it with dilute bases like sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate solution without rubbing it. Then you, after when the irritation is suppressed, then you wash it with normal water. So now we will start with the reaction, and we will start measuring the volume of benzene which is required for the reaction to carry out. Here we are setting up two sets of reactions so that the yield could be good. So for first set of reaction, we will take the volume which we have calculated. According to that, we will measure the volume with the help of measuring cylinder, and the measured volume will now after when it is being measured properly, you will transfer that measured volume of benzene to your conical flask. Here the acetic acid is also being used. You can see, I'll tell you that what for we are using acetic acid. You can see we are transferring the measured volume of benzene here to the conical flask. Similarly, we will measure the second another volume of benzene. As I have told you, we are setting up two sets of reactions today. After that, we will add acetic acid. That was I was discussing. Acetic acid here has two purposes which for which we are using acetic acid here. That when we add bromine to this solution of benzene and acetic acid, whenever the bromine comes in contact with air, it vaporizes and it gets expelled into environment. So to restrict that expulsion, we use acetic acid because it retains the excess of bromine in the chemical reaction so that the reaction could complete easily. Other thing that we have read while we are discussing about the Linden, that acetic acid is used to dissolve the other isomers of Linden so that we can get major concentration of gamma, which is having an insecticidal property. Okay, so here when the reaction is complete and when we filter off the crystals which of the product, the soluble form, in the soluble form, all the other isomers of Linden they move off to the solution form, and in the filter the residue which is remaining over the filter paper, that will be rich in gamma isomer of Linden. So this is why we take acetic acid. We have added a few volumes of acetic acid here. Now to add bromine to this reaction, we should take precaution and we should add bromine under fuming hood only. Fuming hood is a space where you have exhaust fan which expels out all the fumes which are harmful for you and under which you should not come in contact with for longer period. So all the vapor forming reactions where high fumes are coming out, we need to take those reaction into the fuming hood or fuming chamber so that we could not come in contact with these fumes. See here, you can see the fumes of bromine, how much it is fuming. So we do not need to come in contact with fumes. So that's why we are adding bromine into the reaction mixture under or inside a fuming hood, fuming chamber. While adding bromine to the reaction mixture, you should not add all of the volume which you require for the reaction. It should be added into the reaction mixture in small portions. It should not be drained into. So this is how we have added the bromine in both the conical flasks. And to avoid the expulsion of bromine, we are covering its mouth with plastic sheets and tying it with rubber band so that it can become as much possible airtight. So this rubber band and plastic sheets. Now you can see what they are for in this reaction which we are discussing today. So this is how we will tie it very tightly so that bromine could not expel from this reaction vessel of ours, that is the conical flask. Now we will take this two conical flask into the bright sunlight so that the photochemical dissociation of bromine could take place, and which will result in formation of bromide free radical. This is our fuming cupboard under which we are adding the bromine into our reaction mixture. Now this two conical flasks have been brought into bright sunlight. You can see their bubbling has started in the first reaction vessel. This indicates that the reaction is quite fast. As soon as it has been kept in sunlight, it started showing the chemical change, though it is not visible in the second reaction set. Okay, but you can see it is quite fast. The reaction is very fast. It starts as soon as we bring this reaction mixture into the sunlight. While carrying out this reaction, you need to monitor it for 2 to 3 hours as per the sunlight available on that day. In between, after 15 to 20 minutes, every 15 to 20 minutes, you need to shake it so that proper reaction could take place. Again, I am telling you, you need to take necessary precautions. See how much fumes it is expelling out. So these fumes contain bromine. So you need to take very much precaution while handling this one. Try to wear rubber gloves, surgical gloves, mask, head cap and all, so that you can prevent yourself from any type of harm which may cause while carrying out this chemical reaction. Time to time you need to shake the reaction mixture and observe for the chemical change. So after the completion of the reaction, when you have removed all of your acetic acid and the remaining benzene, if it is not reacted, by filtering off, this is the solid mass which you will get in your conical flask after the completion of the reaction. You can see you can see the wall containing yellowish white crystals being deposited over whole of the wall of this conical flask. So for that, how these crystals are, how they look, is it really a crystal or simply a powder? For that thing to understand, we'll take a small chip of crystals from the reaction vessel and we'll place it over the glass slide, and we'll observe this chunk of crystals under microscope, or chunk of your product, we can rather say. After observing that we have got the crystals, we'll say we have the crystals of your hexabromocyclohexane. So now we are taking this glass slide containing the chunk of your product formed by the above reaction which we have discussed priorly, and see, we are trying to focus it under the microscope so that we can see that what is the structure of the product formed. See, you can very easily observe good crystals are being visible. It is a cluster of crystals. You can see that small piece is actually a group of numerous numbers of crystals. It is glassy crystalline structure you can see, which has been formed by the reaction of your benzene and bromine. See, it is crystal glass like structure. You can see it is a cluster of, or you can see a group of crystals which have been grouped together. See, is it clear? So now we'll try to isolate a single crystal, single or one or two crystals, so that we can easily see what is the shape of crystal which has been formed by this reaction. So we have separated or we have broken this cluster so that single isolated crystals can be observed, and we are now focusing over that structure or the crystal which has been formed, so that we can understand how does a single crystal will look like. So at the bottom circle you can see here, this is the structure of a crystal which has been formed. This is a single crystal of your hexabromocyclohexane. This is again the cluster. This is your single crystal which you can see. This is your single crystal and this is again the cluster. So now we can say that we have got to our product which we were trying to get by carrying out this reaction. This is how your final product inside your reaction vessel, that is your conical flask, you can see. You can observe it with your naked eye, that how does it looks like. Yellowish white crystal lump can be seen at the bottom of your conical flask. It is very shiny and a good chunk of crystals can be observed by your naked eye also. So this is how we conclude our chemical reaction, the practical aspect. This is how your product will be formed at the end of this reaction, when this reaction is completed. Now further we will discuss about the calculation, how you need to do the calculation and how you will write up the result of this chemical reaction which we have discussed today. So for that part we will continue in through our slides. So for the calculation part, we have to discuss three things, that is theoretical yield, practical yield and the percentage yield. To understand about the how you can calculate the theoretical yield, I am giving you a link. There you can practice with a few examples how the theoretical yield could be calculated for any given reaction. This is the link which you can go through and learn how to calculate the theoretical yield for any particular chemical reaction. Now the practical yield will be the weight of the product so formed, and we have to weight, and when you weight over a balance you will get the value, and this value will be your practical yield. And for the percentage yield you need to use this formula, that is percentage yield is equal to practical yield upon theoretical yield into 100. This result will be in your percentage. So in next you have to write is the observation, that what all you have observed when you carried out this reaction. Under the observation we will discuss the physical properties which are being visible through your naked eye or your senses. You can check out, that is color. The color of the product form will be yellowish to orangish white. The odor is characteristic to your compound. State is solid powder, and thus further is it a crystalline or amorphous. So we have seen it under a microscope that the first structure of the product formed is crystalline, and at the end we will write the result, that is hexabromocyclohexane was synthesized from benzene and the percentage yield was found to be whatever percentage you will get. Write down that percentage at the end. So this is how your chemical reaction will conclude. You will get your desired compound hexabromocyclohexane from your starting material, that is the substrate molecule here is benzene and your reacting species is bromine, and your acetic acid is the solvent medium. The desired environmental condition is sunlight, which you require to carry out this reaction with. So now we end this experimental part. I hope you must have learned very well through this reaction. The practical demonstration would help you to attain better understanding of this reaction. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, do subscribe our channel, like and share, and comment what next you require to see. Thank you all. Good day. Bye bye.